Good afternoon, everyone. How is everybody today? I'm sitting outside kind of assessing where my new fire pit is going to be rearranged. We started on it a couple months ago, and you know how it is. Projects get in the way, and you get called to go do something else, and a project usually gets left behind. So I'm hoping and praying the weather holds off enough that tonight we can reset the pavers, reset the stone around the fire pit, and be able to enjoy the yard for the rest of the summer into the fall. That is the good thing about when you are planning and putting steps in motion. For those of you who don't know who I am by now, I am Kitrin Marie. I'm a writer, I'm an artist, I'm a speaker, and I am a life and a business coach. And that is the thing. We all have epic fails. We all have things that we've started on and we've been sidetracked and have gone to do something else. And the little things that have been forgotten that you need to go back and tweak just a little bit. And although I was in a big hurry to get the fire pit going because I wanted to burn a bunch of the stuff that we were pulling off the fence line, it was just one of those things that got away from because I started doing other work and going in another direction, and I'm looking at it now and I feel like it was an epic fail. Epic fails are opportunities to do something right and to do it again. I think about my older kids. Jason is 33, Rachel is 30, and then of course I have Tyler, who's the 17-year-old at home. Tyler was my 40-year-old gift to myself. I like to think of. He was planned. He was somebody, a little being that I wanted. I had always wanted a big family. I wanted 5 kids, and it just didn't turn out like that. But I'm very blessed with who I have. Anyway, Jason being 30, I've never told my kids that they could not do something, provided it was within the guidelines of the law. I never told them that they could not have their dream and go on to try to do something. It is worse of a failure not to do something than to attempt to do something and fail at it, but then you get back up at it. Rachel, the same thing, and although Jason and Rachel are 3 years apart, they are pretty much night and day. Jason is his mother's son. His head is in the clouds. He's a personal trainer. He is a bodybuilder. He's a motivational speaker. He is certified in nutrition. He is certified in coaching. He's got himself back in school where he'll be graduating this September in massage therapy. He is my GQ kid. He looks like something right out of a magazine. It started out, he wanted to get into shape. He wanted to go into the Air Force and couldn't pass the test and felt he needed to do something in his life to make a difference. Started teaching swimming. Excuse me. Something's blowing in the air. It's on my lipstick. There we go. Sorry. Anyway, he wanted to do something with his life. He wanted to have a purpose. And he went on to coaching in swimming and took on little kids and took on elder adults and became very proficient at his craft. I never once told him he couldn't do it. I never told him that's a crazy dream. You can't go do that. My daughter Rachel, 30 years old, when she was in the 5th grade, she came bouncing home and she said, Mommy, why are we so different? Why do people look at us so differently? And I would just say, because we live our life out loud. We live our life in color. We choose to think outside the box, and we choose to do things a little bit different than everybody else. So she went back to her classmates and played and everything, and probably about a week later she came home and they had dissected some animal in her science class, and at that point she said, I'm never going to eat a pig. I'm never going to eat pork. I never questioned it. She's the only one that doesn't realize she's missing out on bacon, but her life, her choice. Within that same kind of comment, she said, I think I want to be a lawyer. And I said, okay, if that's what you want to do, you go right ahead. You go become a lawyer. Well, as it turns out, she became a teacher. And although her negotiations might be a little different from litigations in a courtroom, she is still navigating children and teaching them right and wrong and benefits and consequences and learning about all the good things that you're supposed to learn about in this school, in the school system. And I'd like to think it was a little bit of instillment on my part because I never told her she could not go after her dreams. Never. Rachel and I have that mother-daughter relationship. We don't agree all the time. And that's like anything. You don't ever agree a lot on a lot of things, but you learn to agree to disagree. And she has become this wonderful teacher, and with her 3 kids, she teaches them right and wrong and is allowing them to have their dreams. Anthony, my 9-year-old grandson, he wants to be an artist, and he says, "Grandma, show me." James likes to cook, and he had told me last week he wants to have his own restaurant or he wants to work in a food truck. And Rachel and I both started laughing because this last little gig I'm doing, I do food prep for a food truck, which I like. I like having my hands still in food and beverage. It's the opportunities and it's the blessings and the things that come with learning and continuing on with your dream. You just don't stop having dreams because reality sometimes gets in the way. You know, we have these epic fails where we go on to do something and it just wasn't what we thought we wanted to do, but you have opportunities to do something else. So, you know, as Jason and Rachel are very, very successful. And then I have Tyler, who's 17, who is a senior in high school, going to be a senior. And we're going over grade point average and everything and all his school papers because they start earlier and earlier every year. You know what? Hands to the heaven, I am glad this is his last year of school. This is my last one in school, and I want him to go out with a bang. And he is in that A+ program where if he finishes out at a higher GPA, they will pay for him to go to school. And he's also talked about going into the military. Now, as my youngest, as my baby, as the one who pretty much it's just been him and I for most of his life, you know, I'm concerned about that. But I'm not telling him no, he can't. I'm not telling him he is not allowed to go explore those dreams. Was with a client last night and she said, you know, my kids are gone. They hardly see me. My husband and I have such a disconnect. She said, and I don't know what to do. I feel like, you know, I've failed. I feel like I failed my kids. And I said, you know what? Here's the thing. There will always be things that your kids hold against you, but you make different choices now and you go on and you try to do something else. You let your kids still see that you are working towards your dream, and just because they're out of the house and they don't come around, you have a disconnect with your significant other, you prove to other people that you're still entitled to have those dreams no matter how big of an epic fail that you think you might be. There are years and years I worked double shifts that Rachel still wants to throw out and say, but you were never home. Of course I was never home. I was a single parent working a job, trying to have enough money to come in to provide for what they needed. And they don't understand till they get to a point later in life when they have their own kids and things start to parallel. And they stop and they think, oh, well, maybe it wasn't such a bad situation, or maybe she wasn't such a horrible parent, or whatever it is that your kids might think about you. But the thing is, once you have an empty nest, if you have hid behind your kids or behind your significant other, you won't know what to do because your identity has been lost with hiding behind that. And there is seasons and blessings, and I talk about it all the time. You know, if you've been able to stay home with your child, you know, your babies need you. Your kids need you. You set small examples when they are smaller, so as they get older, they understand the nurturing and the nature of how important it is to be a stay-at-home mom. And I had a mix of it. You know, there was a time where I could stay home with my kids for a long time, and then I needed to go to work, and then I would make enough money, and I would stay home with them again. I made life work for me on my terms, thinking outside the box, thinking and living out loud in color. And that is part of the things that I teach in my coaching sessions. You need to learn to think outside the box so you don't become codependent on somebody else. So you don't become dependent on somebody else's income, because I'll tell you what, it's never 50-50. It's 60-40 at best, it's 80-20, and sometimes it's 0 and 100. But you have to know where your worth is and where your talents are and what you will be good at when the time comes for you to go on to do something else. So while I'm sitting out here, I'm going to glance, this way again. I'm just looking at this fire pit, and I had an idea, and it was an epic fail. So we are going to be redoing it tonight. Like life, right now it is starting to rain, and I'm praying, let it rain, let it come, let it stop, and let me finish with the project, and let me go on to something bigger and better. And that's what I am hoping you will do. You will go on to bigger and better, and you will leave your miserable comfort zone, because that's what happens. You get caught up in your everyday life, and it takes hard work and a lot of effort to change your life, and you do become very stuck in a miserable comfort zone. And I refuse to live like that, and I encourage all of my people who take any of my coaching sessions, don't become so complacent with that miserable comfort zone. It's not a place you want to stay in for the rest of your life. You are supposed to evolve, you are supposed to awaken, and you're supposed to be something bigger and better and have a life that's meant for your highest purpose. So I'm going to go out here and sit out here for just a little bit longer, kind of reassess where the sand and where all these big bricks and everything are going. Trying to get this yard back in place so I can enjoy it, maybe throw a big party before the season's over. So I am Kitrin Marie. I am a writer, an artist, a speaker, a life, and a business coach. If there's something I can do for you, please send me an email at kitrinmarie@gmail.com. You can see all my work at kitrin-marie.weebly.com. Go on over to my blog at imperfectionsmadebeautiful.blogspot.com. Find me on all the social networks. Follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am booking sessions for my painting classes. I have 7 in your group at $45, and yours, being the 8th, is free. If you're interested in a coaching session, life or business, it's $65 for 2 hours. So feel free, send a message to me, reach out, say hi, leave a comment. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be happy, be blessed. Don't worry about them epic fails, because you know what? You get opportunities to do them all over again. So I hope to see you real soon. Bye.